Need to make sure that we're live on LinkedIn, we're live on Facebook as well. So I think we're good to go. Right. Thank you all for joining us again today. Welcome to the fourth episode of A Day in the Life of a Cyber Professional 2024. Remember, this series is designed to extract valuable insights from the careers of leading cybersecurity experts, empowering them to move forward confidently in your own career. My name is Dr. Ayo Lasisi. I'm your host. Remember that this series is an integral part of our cybersecurity management coaching program, which is dedicated to helping experienced professionals use their relevant backgrounds to kickstart a successful career in cybersecurity. And on today's episode, I have a very special guest. If you've heard that I'm one half of the Security Brothers, today I bring you my second half. It's a great pleasure that I introduce you to our very special guest today, a distinguished senior cybersecurity consultant with over a decade of experience in IT and cybersecurity. His recent focus has been on technology risk and endpoint security. And with an extensive background that has various facets of IT and cybersecurity, he has been at the forefront of designing and implementing robust security frameworks for numerous high-profile organizations. I give you my brother and my friend from the very first day, Dr. Surajdeen Ayo Lasisi is joining us here today to share his insights on the evolving landscape of cybersecurity, especially as it relates to individuals and how we can be self-responsible for our security and data governance members. Welcome to the show today, Surajdeen.
Thank you very much, Mukhtar, for having me. I appreciate this a lot.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. I know I haven't done justice to your introduction. I'll give you a few seconds to reintroduce yourself to the audience so they know who we have in the house today.
Well, there's no more justice to be done at this point in time. Thank you for that introduction. I'm glad to be here and I'm excited at the same time. As Dr. Mukhtar rightly mentioned, my name is Surajdeen Ayo Lasisi, but I prefer to go by Ayo Lasisi. I've been within the IT space for, I would say, 16 years now, and cybersecurity specifically, 8 to 10 years. It's been a journey, for me. I started as a support personnel with Coca-Cola in Nigeria. Then I moved on, traveled to the UK. During my PhD, it turns out that GDPR was introduced. And at that point, I had to do some research related to GDPR, and that was what got my attention in information security. Then cybersecurity was not the buzzword, I would say. It was more of information security then. But I started about that time, so giving me like 8 to 10 years of experience within the cybersecurity space now. And since then, it's been my bread and butter, right? It's been putting food on my table. So yeah, that's a little about me. So I operate within the cybersecurity space, and I have a lot of experience there. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And of course, if you want to just tell us in 10 seconds what your company is about as well.
Yeah, so I have my own establishment called Kid Solutions Incorporated. It's also a company focused on cybersecurity. We, as just like Mukhtar mentioned, we focus more on endpoint security for individuals and also for small businesses. It's something that we thought would be required by everybody today, knowing that not everyone is aware of the cybersecurity threats or risks that we face, especially with our mobile devices. So we started working on awareness campaign just so people become more aware of those devices that they cherish so much and the risks that those things could put them into. So we started the awareness campaign, and at the same time we sell solutions that could help people protect their devices for their daily lives.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. And before we move into the core of the program. I'll just a bit of housekeeping to let everybody know how we run the show, just for the sake of those that are joining for the first time or those that, and of course, we took a month break, so those that might have forgotten how we run it. So the first half of this program would be me asking some predetermined question to our guest here. And of course, I don't do justice to those. And the last half of it would be the audience asking him questions as it relates to either their career or protect themselves. So they would take questions from those on Zoom. They can unmute and ask their questions or put it in the chat. For those on LinkedIn or Facebook, you can put it in the comments and we'll read it out to our special guest here today. So without further ado, when you're ready, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I'm good to go. Thank you.
Let's do it. Thank you. So my first question for you today. So can you start by explaining what technology risk really means?
Technology risk, I would say, is the potential for technology failure to disrupt your service or your business that you are putting so much to put together. I think that's a nutshell of how I can put that. But going into that deeply, it means that so many things could go wrong with your technology, especially in this world of today, wherein almost everything we do business-wise is driven by technology. So you cannot afford, to have your technology break down while operation is on. That means it could be disastrous or catastrophic to your business. So there are so many risks. It could come from cybersecurity. It could come from system going down, maybe power failure and stuff like that. And it could even come from, bad or misconfiguration, through maybe your system admin, your experts and stuff like that. So yeah, technology risk is mainly, the potential for technology failure to bring a system down or to cause disruption to your business.
Thank you for that. My second question, and you actually answered the first part of this question, which is how did you get started in cybersecurity? So I will just ask the second part, which is what led you to specialize in technology risk and especially endpoint security?
That's a very interesting question, and I would start by saying I specialize in 3 to 4 different domains of cybersecurity, one of which is technology risk. I do identity and access management. I do data security. I do technology risk, as we have mentioned, and then I do vulnerability management as well. But yeah, on technology risk, again, it is important that talk of from the 25 domains that we have in cybersecurity, there's no way that you would operate within these 25 domains without having to touch on technology risk. Because at the end of the day, any small disruption could take down every other domain of your technology stack. So, that got my attention. It became something I really love to do myself. I started more on the, let me say, application security. I decided to leave that space for now. But doing all these things, I realized that for each component of technology that you work with, there is that need to carry out a risk assessment. And I was like, okay, if this is the case, I need to enmesh myself in that space as well and understand what I am doing. And I believe, having experience in that space would help me a lot in navigating through other domains of cybersecurity. So that was how, I got my interest in that, and I decided to develop my interest. I built on that, and thankfully I got those opportunities that gave me the experience within the space. Yeah, pretty much I do that almost every day of my life right now.
Thank you. You know what I always say? I said there's no security without risk, without risk assessment. How do you know what can go wrong? How do you predict what can go wrong if you don't conduct a risk assessment? So I agree with you 100%. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So do you want to touch on the like endpoint security as well? Like what picture interest in that space?
Oh yeah, endpoint security is interesting, right? Endpoint, could come in different forms. Endpoints could be your daily mobile devices. that you use, your mobile phone that you cherish so much. Endpoint could be your PC that you own personally or that is given to you by your company, right? Endpoints could be that server that you use within your organization, and so many other components of IT, could be regarded or could be referred to as endpoints. Now, in recent time, threats or attacks have been directed towards an endpoint simply because not everyone is aware, or sometimes even if you feel or you think you are aware, we can all be poised into, falling victim at one point in time. As a result, there are different solutions out there today that are focused or primarily designed for endpoint. Now, me going into endpoint security is a very interesting story, and it has to do with my personal life, not necessarily not necessarily work related. So it happened that there was a time I had a few, it was more like a recurrent, so to say, wherein family members and friends, sent me a series of text messages. And it turned out that these text messages were all malicious, unfortunately. They meant well for me, not because, they wanted me to fall victim or something. But then, because I am a security conscious person, I have all these tools on my endpoints or my mobile devices wherein they catch all this malicious stuff whenever they come my way. So I decided to reach out to them to let them know about what they have done, not to scare them at the same time, but just so they become more cautious, and conscious whenever they are sharing anything that has to do with links and stuff like that. Then it occurred to me that this is happening simply because these people are not aware. And at this point, we needed to take action and create more awareness for people. And from that moment onward, I took it upon myself to work in this space, to learn more about endpoint security. And since then, I've been working on this project. So it was more of a personal daily life thing that puts me into the endpoint security aspect.
I couldn't agree more with that. Yeah. So when we were talking about technology risk, Endpoint is definitely one technology we want to talk about. And I will stay on that to ask, which will lead us to my third question, which is with the increasing use of mobile devices, how has the risk landscape changed in recent times?
Um, it has grown so big, unfortunately, that people fall victim day in, day out. Almost every day now, a lot of thousands of people fall victim. Now, again, I would quickly touch on the awareness, right? One major thing that organizations do today is to try to create that awareness for people, right? And that is why you see this phishing campaign that companies do every day. It's not because they want you to fall victim or because they want to fire anybody. It's just because they need to protect the environment as well. And how do they protect the environment? Is by ensuring that everyone is trained to know what they need to do, what are the things to look out for, in emails that could be suspicious or could be malicious and stuff like that. So that is why organizations train people now for the awareness. Now, most organizations today fall victim not because they don't have the required security measures in place, but it could also be because their staff members or the employees are not trained enough or they are not aware of what actions they need to take. And as a result, people fall victim. It's interesting that the threat landscape, I would say, has grown so big that with the advent or with AI now, things are changing rapidly. Things are changing really fast to the extent that it takes a lot of efforts, to catch up with the threat landscape. And of course, the good guys are out there to try and catch up with this, but then the bad guys aren't sleeping either. So that creates, it ends up putting food on our table because it gives us our bread and butter. But at the same time, those bad guys wouldn't just sleep, and it's growing really fast. Now, to quickly touch on mobile devices and stuff, a lot of people, because of social media, fall victim. People share their daily activities, their daily life, their family stuff, everything on social media. And guess what? These bad guys, what they do is to try and study you, use your daily life against you and put you under pressure to fall victim for their malicious attempts or for their malicious moves. Imagine a situation wherein someone has posted that I'm in Texas, I'm in Las Vegas, and then they know you are there and they reach out to your family member one way or the other to say you have your son is in Las Vegas, he just got involved in an accident and then we need 5,000 to take him to emergency and stuff like that. Because family members are aware of the fact that you are in Las Vegas, right? They rush, they are scared, they are worried, they want to make that transfer as soon as possible. And people would, in the first place, some are even fall victim of giving out their personal or their payment card information. And also they lose out on money and stuff like that. So many tactics, so many ways in which, these, I would say endpoint security or mobile technology has exposed everyone to risk. And also, you have your children at home, you give your phones to them, you give your PCs to them, they do all sort of things. They're just playing, they're having fun, you're also having fun too, but you don't know what these guys are capable of doing, and then you get exposed. And that does not only expose that device, it exposes, all the devices on your network, and your network itself at all gets compromised as a result of that. So it has grown so big that, it takes a lot of effort to catch up with those guys and get rid of them.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much. It reminds me of something that happened recently. I think was it last week? I had an event in Nigeria. And of course, I posted it on social media, and everyone's like, "Oh, are you in Nigeria?" Man? Even if I'm in Nigeria, you probably don't know until I'm back. I wouldn't share that. I wouldn't share that information online. So
Well,
it's
it
quite
takes
interesting.
a security aware person, not to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting how the things we do on a day, like on a daily basis, can actually put us in trouble
Yeah.
without knowing it. Thank you for sharing that. It takes me to my next question actually, because you've touched on a few things, and I wanted to kind of go a bit specific about the significant threats we're seeing today and how this specifically impact mobile technology. I've seen in recent times, I've received some of us here have received those calls that they say, "Oh, you're supposed to be part of a Zoom call today, and you receive a pin. Can you give me your pin so they can set you up properly?" Again, a lot of people don't know that, and we've seen a lot of people fall victim of this. Can you go deeper into some of the specific threats we're seeing today, and maybe how we can uh, how they can tackle those?
Um, threats, come in different forms, especially for companies or for organizations. I would say one of that could be, before I move on to, the mobile technology or endpoint, I would say one of that could be third-party exposure. Now, a lot of companies today, cannot operate without having third parties or vendors working with them. And this is why it is very important. And this also touches on technology risk as well, right? Um, when you engage third parties, there is a chance that there will be some form of technology integration, between both companies. And if care is not taken, if this third party or vendor is not properly risk assessed, there is a chance that your organization could get exposed due to the integration that you carry out with this company. Now, it could be a thing that that company itself has some vulnerabilities that they are not aware of or have not been remediated or mitigated. And then the moment they plug in into your own organization, the vulnerability they have, exposes your organization that is even secure. So you think you are secure, but that little configuration, that little integration that you've done, brings about that exposure. And then the moment that company gets attacked, or even it could be that you will be the one to be attacked because there's that little loophole that has been created. And those bad guys, they're always out there, to exploit and extort and look for vulnerabilities. The moment they see one, they exploit it and then you get exposed. So that is one. Now, talking about uh, mobile technology, it's enormous. There is a lot to touch on, right? Especially with social media. Talk of WhatsApp, talk of Telegram, even SMS on your phone. What these guys do, there's something we call smishing, right? They send you series of messages to lure you into clicking on links. And these links, to us, sometimes you don't even know what they are capable of doing. Not everybody is aware of the difference between what we call HTTP and HTTPS, for example. Now, you see a link, SMS, or in your WhatsApp. Oh, this thing looks good. You click on that link. The moment it's HTTP, sometimes it may even be good, but the fact that that S is not there is something to always look out for. What that S stands for is that that link is secure, right? That is what that means. So if you don't see S in any URL or any link, be it on your PC or your mobile device, don't click on that. There is even a chance that your PC will have Microsoft Defender or MacBook would warn you that that link you are about to click, or you're about to visit is not secure. So when you see that kind of warning, well, just make sure you don't prove to be stubborn. That's one. Also, just so you know, the fact that I mentioned that HTTPS stands for secure does not mean that link is also to secure. At the same time, you have to be extremely careful because these bad guys now, the way they design all this malicious stuff, they know about the HTTPS thing, and they give you a perfect URL that you would never think, is malicious. You still click on it and you fall victim. What about a situation wherein, for example, you think you want to go to Walmart's website, they have put HTTPS, / Walmart. Now, to you, you just see, you read through, you see Walmart, you think it's Walmart, right? But then what they have done is instead of putting WALMART, they have probably put WOLMART, or that L is not the L that you think you know. It is that, that slash on your keyboard that they've put there. So many tactics, so many ways wherein, they can lure you into divulging your personal details. And then you click on that, you think you're on Walmart website, you want to order an item, you put your credit card details there and boom, you're exposed, you're gone. These are the different ways, in which we can say so much about this, right? But there are so many ways that we could get exposed if care is not taken. It's just that we just need to be conscious about this. We need to be aware, take that extra effort to maybe read about technology risk, read about series of attacks out there. Every day we hear in the news that this company has been compromised, that company has been compromised. Talk about London Drugs, for example. That's a very big company. You would think they have everything covered, but then who knows? So many things going on, in the background that not everyone is exposed to. So yeah, you just need to take that extra effort and caution to remain safe.
Thank you for that. And I don't know if anyone is seeing the link. And the things we do in our personal and private lives will not just put us in trouble if care is not taken, it put others around us in trouble and even the organization that we work for. And if it doesn't look right, just don't do it. It's interesting. I'll just touch on. So as a company, we sell, of course, security awareness solution as well. And part of what we do, like what you're explaining, it will look like it's from your bank. You click on it, it will show you your bank's landing page. You put your information on it, but we're seeing everything you're doing. Or we, of course, we report it back to your manager or whoever is in charge of you. Second, yeah, your person didn't just click that, give all this information. So these are different ways these bad guys can trick you. Right? It would look legit, it would look real, but again, if it doesn't look right, if you're not expecting it, check again. Or pick up the phone and call your bank. Okay, what's going on here? Right? So very important. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, quick one there, Mukhtar. What you just said, I just want to quickly add a little tip there. There's something we also call trust but verify. Sometimes you believe you trust someone, you believe you trust something, but then part of the ethics of cybersecurity is that even though you trust that thing, still make sure you verify. And the reason I'm saying this is because of what Mukhtar just said, that sometimes you still need to do a follow-up to be sure that that email that you think you received from your boss is truly from your boss, right? Or the email you think you have received from your son who is in school is truly from him. All you need to do is just to pick up the phone and call to verify that truly it is what it is. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I heard from an entrepreneur recently who lost about $100,000 simply because she didn't verify the email. She thought it was from one of her accounts. And she lost her recipe and then she lost $100,000 as well. So very sad story, but it does happen.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you for sharing that. So my next question, I'm not sure because we're almost at time and I want to give enough time for people to ask
Sorry, maybe I'm
questions.
talking too much here.
I know it's for me it's perfect. I'm taking a lot from that. I hope the audience are learning a lot as well. So this is more about going to your career a little bit. So based on the lessons you've learned in your journey so far, what advice would you give to someone looking to start a career in cybersecurity, particularly within your areas of specialization?
Yeah, I would say if you are interested in cybersecurity, it's a good space to be in. My own and good advice or honest advice would just be that you should have some background in IT. It does not mean you should have a first, second degree in IT, but you should know that you are very good IT wise. You are technology savvy and you can easily navigate your way because it requires some understanding of IT to champion the cybersecurity space. Otherwise, it could be a struggle for you.
You know what I say is the technology aware, right?
Yeah.
Because more again, information security, information technology. You're protecting this information that is on technology. How can you protect it if you don't have an idea what it's about? So thank you for that. That's a very short but important advice. So let me see if I can ask this one. So where do you see cybersecurity heading? Of course, there's AI, there's a lot going on. Where do you see cybersecurity heading in in the future, like in the future?
Cybersecurity is going nowhere. It has come to stay, unfortunately. The more you have technology, the more the cyber threats would remain, unfortunately. Because it's a big industry for those guys. They make billions of dollars, in this space. So you would imagine it's just like telling Elon Musk to shut down his business. Who does that? So these guys too, they cash out big and unfortunately they aren't going anywhere. The good thing about it is it's sad, but the positive to that is it keeps a lot of us in job, right? But yeah, it's unfortunately not going anywhere, and also we have to evolve with that space because that landscape changes a lot and very fast.
Considering our audience, I'll say it's fortunate because I can tell you that 90% of people you know, here or on LinkedIn or Facebook are trying to get into cybersecurity. So it's quite fortunate that cybersecurity is not going anywhere. And maybe you want to touch briefly on the human factor in cybersecurity. What role would we play? Like I say, security is everybody's business, right? What role would that human factor play in security as we step into the future?
Yeah, it's interesting that they say every day that technology is replacing us, AI is replacing us, but there are certain things that technology can never do or would not do. And a very good example here is what we have mentioned earlier about technology risk, right? You want to complete a risk assessment on a technology stack. Would you expect AI to do that assessment for you? How does AI understand the different assets that you have within your organization? How does AI understand the resources or the human power that you've got, to handle each technology stack? How does AI know that you will be integrating or you are about to onboard a new vendor into your organization? So many factors that you have to look into. And like I said earlier, there are 25 domains of cybersecurity. And when you're completing a technology risk assessment, you have to touch on these 25 domains. And it's a very rigorous process. Sometimes to do risk assessment, it takes you months, to get through that process. And that is why, we have a lot of certification or attestation going out there, top of SOC 2 compliance, top of ISO certification, top of this, top of that. And I'm sure some of you may have heard that becoming SOC 2 compliance could take up to 1 year, as a process. So it's a very, very rigorous process. Now tell me, how on earth would AI, machine learning take over in this case? It's not possible. So that human factor is very key. So in those areas, fine, there could be the tools, that makes our daily operations easier, but someone has to be behind this operation. Someone needs to configure these policies. Someone needs to set the configuration, right? So it's just for us to to know what we are doing about all these things and be sure that we are confident, with whatever you do. But like I said, just be technology aware and all these things will become easy for you.
Absolutely. Like I said, when you say system, information security management system, this a system is not the technology. It is people, process, and then technology. So we have a part to play in the future. AI is not taking our jobs. Yes, thank you. So finally. So could you share some of your cybersecurity practices that help you stay secure in your everyday interaction?
Well, again, I try to learn, a lot about security, and I try to be aware of what is going on around me. I read a lot of news on cybersecurity. Let me put it that way. And also because I am also human like everyone who could fall victim at any point in time, I have a phone, mobile phone as well, right? And I have my PC. One of the things I do, for example, is that even though I know what to look out for, in order not to fall victim, I still have a solution installed on all my devices and for my kids as well, just so we are extra careful and extra cautious. So I would say, if you have the means, to have a security solution installed on your devices, it's a very good practice, to imbibe and ensure that everyone knows what that solution does. There's a chance that sometimes, there are false positives. That is fine. Those solutions will not get it perfect, 100%, no. But again, I would say 99% of times they are right. They help you, they protect you, and that reduces your chances, of falling victim of for these malicious guys. So that is one of the key things that I do, every day. And I also try to create that awareness in my house. My family members, even my little boy knows about all these things. He knows when he sees, oh, dad, see this thing, is this okay to click? Oh, no, don't do that. All these little talks that you have with your kids could also go a long way. And again, be careful of social media. It's not everything that you do in your life that you post on social media. You should have your privacy. You should have your private life. You're traveling today, never share that on social media. Just like Mukhtar said earlier, he would never have shared that if he was going to Nigeria. The only time you would know is when he returns, right? So something like that, you keep people in suspense as opposed to before you travel, everything is out there. They know when you are going, they know when you return. You are now, in the Caribbean, they see everything about you. So all these guys do is just to get hold of little information and they could use that against you. But all this little housekeeping could go a long way and you would never know. But yeah, they do go a long way.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing all that. Thank you. Um, those are my questions I have for you today. I will open up the floor for questions from the audience. Those on Zoom, raise your hand. I'll call you so you can ask the question you have. And I will keep my eyes on the comments coming in from Zoom, from LinkedIn and Facebook. So questions? No. Let me see what present we have up.
I think people are aware already. We are all informed.
And seeing a comment on Facebook. So good to see you again, Dr. Ayo, one of the best in the industry.
Oh, who's that?
Come to me, Dr. on Facebook. Okay. Any question from the audience? This is your opportunity to ask, even if it's about career, if it's not about like everyday practice, if it's about okay, how do I navigate? Even something as how do I get into your company? You can ask. Anything is allowed.
Yeah, you can come work for me.
Okay, then what do we have on LinkedIn? Can't say it.
I have a question.
Sure, please go ahead.
Hi, this is Michael. Thank you very much, Ayo Lasisi. I really enjoy your speech. So for someone new trying to navigate their way into cybersecurity, even forget about their background, but they are very interested in cybersecurity. So let's say they have three should I call it domain? Yeah, audit, risk assessment, or risk analyst, or third-party risk analyst. Which one would you say would be the easiest way to go into cybersecurity? Would that be audit or risk analyst or as a third party? Okay, let me say I have a supply chain background. Would you consider audit a best way or route to learn this process, to learn the risk and all that, or would that be risk analyst?
Thank you very much, Michael, for that. In my own opinion, I think with your background, I would say risk would be the way forward for you. Audit is a little advanced, before you get to audit, there must be that risk part to be done, right? So I would say it's easier to get into that through risk. And knowing that with your background, you work with a lot of vendors, right? Yeah. What you want to do is to ensure you do a proper risk assessment with all these things. It is when you have a risk assessment completed and then audit can come in, and do their own further audit check, which starts with the risk.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I can add something to that. So my question to you, Michael, would be, you want to be proactive or reactive? Which should you choose?
Maybe reactive.
Okay. Then audit is the way.
Then audit will be the way in that case.
So that's a trick question. So yeah, so proactive means that you're preempting what would happen, right? And you're trying to prevent it. So, and I think with your background, just like Dr. here said, I think with your background, of course, I'm sure you're well aware of the supply chain securing third-party risk assessment. I think that would be a good place to start. But if you, again, like I said, you want to be reactive, I'd say you can go down the audit route.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? There's a comment in the chat. It's a well done, bros. From Rukayat on Facebook. Any question from the audience here?
Hi, I have a question.
Sure, please go ahead.
I know thank you, doctor. That was very insightful. I know you've been talking about endpoints a lot. So for the benefit of the people that are new to this space, can you shed more light on what endpoint means in a layman terms?
Thank you, Leah. A very good question. Just the way it sounds, endpoint. I would say anything that you use that is usually I would say the last point of operation could be endpoint. Now the reason is that endpoint is because from that moment or at that point there is nowhere else that thing would go. So talk about your data. You have data on your mobile phone, and that data stays on your mobile phone. Of course, you would share that data from your mobile phone to other places, but where you use these things mostly, where that thing stays, where it resides, is what we refer to as endpoint. And that is why I use the example of a mobile phone is an endpoint. Also, when you talk of server, in the IT space, for example, why do we have server? Server means that there are a series of applications, running on one machine somewhere. So, you have your PC that is, and then you have different applications that you use for the day-to-day operations. Those applications are actually talking to the server. They are pulling, they're communicating to the server to be able to use that application and stuff. So that server also could serve as an endpoint because there's a lot of resources that stays. I mean, a lot of resources that stay in that server, in that machine as it is. That makes it an endpoint. Also, you have your database. Database is also a very good example. You have a lot of data, residing in that machine as well. Your information is there, the company information is there, and so many things could happen to that data in there. If that machine is not well protected, for example, type of encryption, the data that sits in that database is not encrypted. If someone or bad guy gains access to that, they can actually see the data you have in there, and they could use this data against you. So that also makes it an endpoint, and it needs to be well protected. So I would say that device that you have a lot of information on, and could be the point where the information could be transferred from one point to the other, is what you would refer to as an endpoint in this case. If that answers the questions, Leah.
Thank you for that question, and thank you for the response. I'm actually starting to wonder if anyone here uses a mobile phone. A lot of people are not so bothered about how to stay secure. Or maybe the people here, they're just here for fun, they're not really looking at the career in cybersecurity. Or maybe technology risk is not an area that interests them. I'm wondering.
It's going to be difficult if you don't want to go through technology risk. There's no way in the cybersecurity space that you would not work with the risk.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do have a question, because you did talk about having a knowledge of IT, or what I prefer to call being technology aware. What does that look like? Is someone here is probably thinking, I've never done, yeah, maybe I've done audit before, but I've actually not done IT audit. And I don't know if I can do this. What advice would you give to someone like that? I'm not sure if it's my space.
So if I hear you correctly, the person does not have IT background, right?
Yes, the person has been doing audit or been in banking.
It's interesting that audit is audit regardless. It is the same thing we do, be it as a financial auditor, as this auditor, that auditor, and then you are doing IT audit as well. The end goal is to achieve one thing, which is common. What you want to achieve as a financial auditor is probably what you want to achieve as an IT auditor as well. All you want is just you want to ensure the integrity, of the technology stack that you have in place, and it pretty much boils down to working with individuals. And this again takes me to what we discussed earlier, that there's no way AI, would take over what we do, because auditors in this case would have to work with individuals. They need someone to show them what they do. They need someone to show them how the configuration has been done. They need someone to show them how they do their day-to-day operations and stuff like that, right? So the same way you go through the financial document verification as a financial auditor is the same way you verify the technology stack composition as well. So I would say it is relevant. The only difference would be the technical jargon that you would use in the space. So you may have your terms as a financial auditor, and there will be the terms to use within the IT audit space as well. But in terms of the concept, they are all similar. Of course, you probably just need some coaching, some training, and I guess that is why we have Mashlet here. The company is set up to train you on how to navigate that space. But pretty much with the training, especially if you have that kind of background, I think you would be good to go in a month or two, something like that.
So definitely, all I say to people is, yes, you're right. The concept is always the same. It's never different. Just like you specializing in anything, maybe this bit, you understand the concept, and then the deeper you go into something, the bigger it gets. And that's it. So you're choosing to focus on one part of what you've done, because no matter where you find yourself, security is in your day-to-day life. You do security as an auditor, whether tax auditor, financial auditor, whatever. You will touch on security one for one. Financial auditor, maybe you're auditing the financial system, or some internal controls, whatever that looks like. But you are not saying, you know what, I've touched on one part of technology before, I want to zero in on that. And even that thing might be a tiny bit of the work you're currently doing. But the moment you choose to specialize, you go deeper. Just like in security, you want to specialize in, say, endpoint security. And then you realize that, oh, okay, yeah, well, I was touching a bit of it. Now I'm having to go deeper into it. So that's exactly what it is. Whether you're an auditor right now, but you're not doing a quality audits. or security audit, you can still do it. Just need to go deeper into it. I see a hand up. Abbas, please go ahead and ask a question.
Hello. My name is Abbas. I'm a data engineer, and I've joined really. Okay, first, this is not a question; it's more of a comment and a contribution, so to say. I've joined really as an enthusiast. I'm not looking to join the cybersecurity space for now. I know it doesn't come as a shock to you, but yeah, honestly, it's been very insightful, and I think I've learned a lot from what Suraj has mentioned all along, and have followed the discussion all through. And it's definitely something to be aware of when it comes to cybersecurity. A lot of the times we always look at the bigger picture, but not looking down to the very tiny details. Like you were mentioning about the endpoint generally, when you look out for the HTTPS in URL, which S is for secure, right? But even at that, there are still cases where that HTTPS could still be an issue, and we just have to be aware and be cautious. So for me, I think I'm just taking away some of those tiny details that we miss, and we think cybersecurity is for the big technologies, for looking out for the big money or or things like that. It could go as far as your normal day-to-day activity. You could easily be swindled and lose a lot in the process. So thank you very much for the information. I really appreciate. And thank you, Mukhtar, for setting up the platform. It's been great. Thank you.
Yeah, Les. But I will tell you that this is the kind of mindset we need in cybersecurity. So we need you.
Yeah, Abbas, you better join now before it is too late.
I think.
Well, thank you, man. I today and please go ahead and ask your question or your contribution.
Good afternoon or good morning, everyone. Thank you for the insight, Ayo Lasisi. I have a question. So I haven't been someone who has been in the auditing space or worked in an auditing environment for 11 years, but not on the core business itself. I was more in the project management space. So my question is like, how do you think I can leverage the skills, for someone who's trying to get into cybersecurity? Like, what are the key things that I need to look for, as I'm just trying to, transition into cybersecurity? Coming from that background, project management in an auditing environment for about 11 years. So what are the key things that I need to look for, in terms of technical skills that can make me succeed in this field? Because I hadn't worked for a couple of years now, so I'm just trying to get back in this space to kind of like leverage my background and move into cybersecurity.
Thank you very much for that question. I think I may also have some questions for you. So you said your background is in project management within the audit space. My assumption would be that you perhaps have had a series of projects to touch on IT as well, and
Yes.
perhaps you have some good understanding or awareness of technology. Is that correct?
Absolutely, you're right. Yes.
Great. So with that said, I would say, I would also ask that, do you want to go into audit, or you're just looking to get into any domain of cybersecurity?
Well, what caught my attention was I think it's the GRC, right?
Yeah.
And I find that interesting. It's something that already operated on while I was in this audit institution. So hearing from what you've said now, or like the insights you've shared, I thought, I'm thinking it's good to start in that space and probably get into auditing later, because most of my key performance indicators was more on dealing with stakeholders and vendors. You know, it was more kind of like financial. I played a key role when it comes to the finances of my business unit. So what I hear you saying was, okay, why not start on the level of, you know, risk assessment and all of that? Then maybe later, because I know what it entails, you know, auditing standards and how they work, I can move later into that space. That's
Yeah.
what I'm just thinking. I don't know if, you know, it's good according to your, you know, being
Yeah.
guru in this space. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And it's very good you brought this up. The way it sounds GRC, governance, risk, and compliance, right?
Yes.
As an auditor, there are certain things you are looking out for. You want to see, so under governance, you know, you are thinking of policy configuration,
Mm,
policy enforcement, and stuff like that. As an auditor, these are the key things you are looking for. You want to see, okay, do they have the policy in place? You know, how much enforcement do they have in place, right?
yes.
Talking about the risk aspect, you want to say, okay, have they actually, you know, conducted a risk assessment, you know, on this technology, and what are the outcomes of that risk assessment? And
Yeah,
also, you want to check if they are compliant with the standard regulations, right? So with the
absolutely.
cybersecurity requirements and all sort of things, right? That's what you need to do. I mean, what you want to do as an auditor. But of course, you have to understand that space. So I would say with your exposure, you know, knowing that you've touched on audit in some ways, perhaps let's say maybe you have not necessarily done a risk assessment, you know, just to ease yourself into the space. It's easier, you know, to start with the risk side of things,
Okay.
right? That would even give you a wider exposure to the 25 domains, because what risk does is risk is completed on all those different domains in
Mm,
cybersecurity. So, you know, when you are talking about identity and access management, you'd have to do risk assessments on that. You're talking about data security, you'd have to do risk assessment on that. Cloud security, you do risk assessment on that. So what
mm,
that does is it exposes you to all those domains that you can think of within the cybersecurity space. So by the
right.
time you have that wealth of knowledge, you know, on the risk assessment, then going into the audit space would be like a cup of tea. You know, for
Right.
you, it will be very easy to get your way in there. But on the other hand, if you think, like Mukhtar said earlier, you want to be reactive as opposed to being
Yeah.
proactive, right? If you want to
Yes.
start on the audit side, that does not mean it is not doable. It is doable,
Right.
but the journey is going to be longer, right?
Mm,
And you may find that you would struggle at some point because the necessary background is not there. But what the risk or the GRC thing would do for you is to give you that background that you can leverage, you know, to become the champion within the audit space. I don't know
that's
if
right.
that answers your question.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you for the insight.
I can add
You're
to that.
welcome.
You know, I was steal from something one of our coaches say, one of our audit coaches, they would say that if you want to learn, if you want to earn while learning, go to audit. It doesn't mean that, and exactly what Suraj said. You would learn because you're learning the right way to do things. You're being proactive. You're saying you should do it this way. That is when you're on the risk side of things. You're advising, more like an advisor, you're advising business to do things a certain way, like the right way. You're showing them the right way to do things. On the audit side, however, you're checking if they've done those things right. Right? So you can either do the learning and then advise the business, which you will learn faster, or you can go the other route and say, you know what, I want to learn some of the bad ways people have done things or some of the best ways people have done things from the audit side. Because what you're doing in the audit is just telling them, show me what you've done. Show me the evidence that you've done this thing. You're not saying this is what you should do. You're saying, show me the evidence that you've done it. You said you have this policy. How have you enforced it? Or the requirement says you should have this policy, not what you said, what the, let's say, a framework or a standard requirement says. Said you should have this thing in place. Do you have it? And oh, yes, we have it. Explain how you use it. Explain how you've done it. Show me the evidence that you've done it. but show me over a 6-month period. I need this sample evidence, this log that you've done this thing over this period of time. Then you're checking those expenses. So it depends on how you want to go about it. Like if you want to learn and be an advisor, which is like a position of respect and opinion, start from risk really and guide the company towards doing the right thing. Or if you want to, like, low-key learn by seeing some of the worst ways people have done things and some of the best ways people have done things, I'd say go to Audit. I hope I haven't confused you a little bit more.
Oh, no. You sounded, yeah, I mean, it just gave more clarity, and I'm thinking now it's me sitting more on the risk side. Because yeah, even me having an exposure to auditing as a whole, I might know things, overview, like from my background, I know we used to do regularity audits, information system audits, and performance audits, right? Those were the key main things that the organization was focused on. So it's good if I sit on the risk assessment side of things, but I know what's going on the audit side. So when they speak that kind of, language or whatever, I know what to contribute in. It gives me like an upper hand to be like, hey, I sound bigger than I know. So thank you for this. Yeah. So Dr.
Yeah, I'll just add to what you said that,
Yeah.
coming from the audit side, you already understand how an auditor thinks. So
Yes.
you can be more respected on the risk side because you can say, you know what, this is how to do it, but this is the evidence we need to show the auditor. You don't have to do anything extra. If we have this in place, we'll pass this audit because you know how an auditor thinks and you know what they'll be looking for. So I think absolutely the risk side
Yeah.
is
All right. Thank you.
You're very welcome. We have 3 minutes to the end. Is there any other question? We can go a little bit over if you have a question that you need to take time to respond to. I see 1 or 2 people just joined. Of course, you're almost at the tail end of the program. Or you can catch the recording on YouTube later on. Any last question before we round this up? Okay, I have a question for you. So if I need an endpoint security solution, how do I go about it? If I want to work with you, how do I contact you and how do I go about it?
We thank you, Tar. So we sell endpoint security solution, and we have a website. My company is Kit Solutions. So we have a website called kitsolutions.com. On there, you would see our product page. You would see the solutions that we sell, and there you can see what you feel suits your requirements. You can make your subscription, sign up, or if you need more information, you'd see the email at the bottom of the page. You can reach out to us for additional information, and then we'll respond to you as soon as we get that. So yeah, well, you can go there, see the solution, sign up, and you'll get it.
You can always put the link to your website in the chat. That will be helpful. And yeah, on that note, I will just let you know. So enrollment, for those that are, again, looking to get into cybersecurity, leveraging their tech, audit, or compliance related background, enrollment for the June group is on now. So you can reach out to us or book a session with us to see how you can leverage your background to get into cybersecurity. So I'm putting the link in the chat as well. As well, I will be speaking about secure use of AI because we're all talking about AI, especially in project management. I think in the next 4 days, on Wednesday, May 15th, at the PMI NAC annual conference. So I'll be speaking about secure use of AI. If it's something you're interested in, please check the page and I think enrollment is still on. The registration is still on for the conference. So sign up for that. And I'll find, I think if you're coming through me, there's a link, there's a code you can use to get the 10% discount. I'll find it and share with you. I think it's Catherine 2024, something like that. I'll find it and share with you. So if you're in Edmonton, you can join live. If you're not in Edmonton, I believe you can join virtually as well. So that's the link to book a call with us to learn more about how you can get into cybersecurity. I'll be happy to, even if it's just a consultation, to learn more about what you can do in the space. We would like to hear about you. It's at no cost. We'd like to learn more about you and see how we can help. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Surajdeen Ayo Lasisi, for being on the show today with me. It's just, I don't know if anyone noticed, I'm a bit more relaxed because I'm here with my brother. And just in case you're wondering, yes, he's my blood brother.
Yeah, we noticed. We definitely noticed.
Why did you skip that from the intro?
I didn't in the intro, you don't understand. He's my blood brother. Some kind of security brother. So yeah, that's him for you. And he's
So from security couples to security brothers.
and it's interesting that I belong to both, right? Hey guys, I'm one half of a security couple, I'm one half of the security brothers. I think I'm security people in my family. I can't help it. I know.
All right, thank you for having me. I appreciate that. And thanks everyone for joining us. So much appreciated. Tutu, I hear you. Abbas, I hear you.
You see your colleague, right?
Yeah, it's a treat having both, like getting to see both of you on a call together. I learned a lot. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you, Gabriela. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and wishing you the very best. Bye, everyone.
Thank
The
you.
rest of the weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.